The topics and opinions expressed in the following show are solely those of the hosts and their guests and not those of W4CY Radio, its employees, or affiliates. We make no recommendations or endorsements for radio show programs, services, or products mentioned on air or on our web. No liability, explicit or implied, shall be extended to W4CY Radio, its employees, or affiliates. Any questions or comments should be directed to those show hosts. Thank you for choosing W4CY Radio.
Welcome to the Ask the Expert show on W4CY Radio and Talk4 TV, where we bring you educational information from top local experts in the fields of legal, health, financial, and home improvement. Now sit back and listen to experts in family law, association law, hearing loss, business brokers, home care, along with many other topics. Now here are your hosts, Steve-O and Sophia.
Hey, good afternoon, Phoenix. Welcome to another Ask the Expert show where we bring you the finest experts in the field of legal, health, financial, and home improvement. I got to tell you, our first show has become one of the most important shows for us because I have learned that people with neuropathy, it is painful. There is balance issues, there's numbness issues, and there's so many people out there who've either let this go untreated or really basically don't even know they have neuropathy. We were so blessed that we've found one of the finest doctors when it comes to neuropathy. And let me introduce him to you now, and hopefully we're going to help a lot of people out there. Good afternoon, Dr. SARS.
Good afternoon, Steve.
I love doing this show with you because I have learned from you so much about neuropathy. And, you know, I know there's so many people out there, Patrick, that have no idea that they're suffering from neuropathy because they don't even know what neuropathy is. So let's get started. First of all, tell everybody about your practice.
Well, my practice is located in Mesa, Arizona. I've been treating neuropathy itself for about a little over 17 years now, with increasing success rate over the years as I've learned more. That in the last 5.5 years, 98% of the patients that we've accepted for care have gotten at least a 65% reduction in their symptoms. The vast majority, much more than that. And it's sustainable so that we now have a protocol basically that will allow them to maintain the relief that they get for the rest of their lives. And we do it without any medications, injections, or surgery. And so it's a very simple way to do it, and it's one that's actually done at home.
Wow, that's amazing. Now, someone wrote us the other day, do you strictly do neuropathy, or do you work in any other areas?
I am a chiropractor is what my degree is in. That I have a bachelor's degree from Arizona State University. Didn't start out in life to become a chiropractor, but got my chiropractic degree. And a lot of people don't understand that chiropractic college, when I went, was 4 years. Now it's about 5.5. So that we do have the same, as far as the actual academic aspect of anatomy and physiology and the like, we're no different than any other medical school in the country. And then we're a little bit more in depth in the fact that we actually deal a lot more with the nervous system itself. So, and then on top of that, I have completed about 1,500 hours of study in neuropathy itself, and I am board certified by the American College of Physical Medicine.
What made you decide to get so interested in neuropathy?
My mom suffered with it for 32 years. Diabetes is the number one cause, but we believe my mother's was actually from DDT. It's a herbicide pesticide that we used back in the 60s and 70s. I grew up on a cattle ranch and dryland wheat farm in eastern Montana. And back in the 60s, we didn't really take the precautions with the pesticides and herbicides that we used. It killed weeds and bugs. Won't hurt me. My mom got drenched with it one day. Didn't clean up until that evening. Numbness started in her feet a few weeks after that and just progressed throughout the years. It's about 12 when it started. By the time I started chiropractic college in my late 20s, because I didn't start out in life to become a chiropractor, my mom was already fully confined to a wheelchair and in a great deal of pain. And when I got out in 86, I started trying to find something to help her. Unfortunately, I never did. Both my parents passed away in 1999, but I found some things in 2006 that showed promise. We started treating patients in the office in 2008, and we've gone through a series of learning over that period of time. And I do have that 98% success rate, and because of that, I actually do guarantee that if I accept you for a patient, you're going to get better. I'll give you your money back.
Wow. Doesn't get any better than that. I like your honesty, Dr. SARS. That's one of the things I've really always liked about you. You don't oversell what you can do, what you can deliver. And I got to tell you, there's more and more commercials out there about neuropathy. And I got to tell you, I don't just listen, I actually go and do my due diligence. And to come to find out, a lot of these claims that doctors are saying, I can, help you with 99% your neuropathy. People are on there complaining that it didn't work for them. And you've always been so honest about what you can deliver.
I try to be. Have to realize that when my dad passed away, my brother and I discovered that my folks had spent just short of $250,000 trying to find something to help my mom.
Wow.
These were the years before I got out of chiropractic college. So this was in the 60s, 70s, and early 80s. That was a lot of money back then. And those doctors that they saw, basically, I've always believed that they kind of looked through the blinds and went, oh, they drive a nice car. And if you told my dad you could help my mom, he'd write you a check. I'm from a very small town. I was on a first name basis with the owner and the president of the banks from the time I was about 4 years old. Our checks cleared whether we had the money or not, because he knew that we'd make it up if we didn't have it right at that particular moment in time. So there wasn't, and my dad would do anything for my mom.
Well, I got to tell you, that's one of the things why people love your show. In fact, we got a letter from a lady who's moving to your area from Chicago, and she's going to make it her home 6 months out of the year. And she said, listening to your show, she said, I noticed that my balance when I'm in the shower, I've had problems, I've had numbness, everything Dr. SARS said. So I am going to hold off. I'm not going to get anybody in Chicago. I'm going to wait till I move in, I think she said in October, and she's going to call you. I thought that was a great compliment to you, Dr. SARS.
Yep. Yeah, makes me feel
Because
pretty good.
There's people in Chicago as big as Chicago is, but for someone to say she's going to wait. So tell people what neuropathy is.
Neuropathy basically is a secondary disease process. And why I say secondary, it's due to the fact it never starts on its own. There's over 200 causes for it. And this is what makes it so difficult and why most of the treatments that are out there don't work or don't last, is due to the fact that we're not able to treat the cause, because 30 to 40% of the time we can't even figure out what the cause is. So we're dealing with the neuropathy itself, which is basically something has interfered with the ability to get oxygen and nutrients to the cells at the ends of the nerves at the skin level, and it causes those cells to die off and go deeper into the tissue. So the woman that you just mentioned, the reason that she has the balance issues is those nerves aren't down at the sole of the foot anymore. They're deeper in. So she probably feels like she's walking on a sponge or a piece of cardboard. And when she notices the most is in the shower, because when you close your eyes to shampoo your hair, you're basically, as you lose the nerve endings in the feet, you become more dependent on your depth perception. And as soon as you close your eyes, you've lost that too. So they need to hold on. And the people that are having problems that way, get a grab bar installed into your shower, or a shower seat so that you can sit down when you're doing those sort of things, because risk of a fall is far too great, because as we get older and falls, that they can be quite serious. But the neuropathy itself, the reason that people have a variety of different symptoms of numbness, tingling, burning, sharp shooting pains, and the like, is due to the fact that we've got different nerve endings carry different sensations. Some may be involved, others may not. That it was not uncommon that it's not uncommon when I do talks that I'll have 30 or 40 people in the talks, and their symptoms are all slightly different. They're not all the same, just due to the fact that not all of them have the same nerve endings reacting at the same time.
Here's one right from Mesa. This is Rita in Mesa, wants to know, do you change the diet for your patients who have neuropathy?
I make recommendations, and yes, we do, because here's what I'm going to tell you. I don't care what your cause of neuropathy is, and particularly during the healing stage, you're going to find that eating sugars, drinking alcohol are going to irritate the nerve endings when you do that. And the reason being is after you eat something that's high carbohydrates, your blood sugar is going to go up. And when we talk about sugar going up, the sugar doesn't flow freely through the bloodstream. It actually attaches to the red blood cell where oxygen should. So you deprive, there's less oxygen on the red blood cell at that time, and that deprivation of oxygen actually irritates the nerves for a short period of time afterwards. So when we're trying to do some of these things, we do actually try to get people to be a little bit more cognizant of what they're eating, particularly during this healing stages. As we get to a point of stabilization, a lot of times the short-term things of eating a candy bar or having an alcoholic drink aren't going to bother them as much, if at all. But during this initial healing stage, yes, we try to alter that. And so we do have a 12-week program basically set up on email, that each day they get a new piece of information. It's a lot of information over the 12 weeks, but it's given out in short dabs so that you can actually absorb it and not get overrun by it, and working from that aspect. That kind of the best example that I have ever had is that I'd hired a new associate about 11, 12 years ago, that in the Friday after Thanksgiving, I took off that day, but she came in, we were still treating patients in the office at that time. And she came in to treat the patients, and she called me at lunch to tell me that everybody reported they were worse. And it's the reason being is the day before they had ate and drank all this stuff that they normally wouldn't do. And it irritated their neuropathy, no matter what the cause was, whether it was chemotherapy, idiopathic neuropathy, or diabetic.
Mike in Tucson, so I can't believe there's finally a show on neuropathy. Kudos to you. My question is, why doesn't insurance cover this?
What we do, there's a lot of political aspects to healthcare in our country. Yes. And basically also part of what we do, that it takes an awful lot to get something approved as far as financial aspects, 10, 15, 20 million dollars to get something approved. And I'll be quite honest with you, I don't have that kind of money that I can jump through those kinds of hoops and not do anything. But the other problem that we've had is that different treatments, alternative treatments for neuropathy, have been paid for by insurance for short periods of time, but the insurance company always wants them done in the office. And the problem with that is that, yes, these treatments can work and can reverse the neuropathy, but it will not cure it. And so what ends up happening is that people go through these treatments, the insurance paid for it, and then 2, 3, 4 months down the line, the neuropathy returns, and the insurance company basically forked out a lot of money for nothing. And they're not willing at this time, though I'm hopeful in the future that someday this will pass, but they're not willing to actually fork out the money to do the treatments to be done at home. And so right now at this time, we're stuck with the fact that this is out of pocket, which is the reason that toward the skepticism that I do offer the money back guarantee, so that people can come in and that if you spend money on something that works, you really don't have a problem with that. But if you spend money on something that doesn't work, that's a problem. And I understand that. So I want to make sure that they understand that if it doesn't work for them, I want to get paid for producing results. I don't want to get paid for just taking advantage of somebody. So I do offer a money back guarantee.
Wow. Mickey, she didn't say where she was from. She wanted to know, what is the success rate for conventional treatments versus your treatments?
Well, conventional treatments basically are gabapentin and pregabalin or Lyrica. Studies show that about 22 to 23% of people long-term will benefit from gabapentin, but unfortunately, because neuropathy is a progressive disease, you will continue to take more and more of it, and you will reach a point generally where the side effects are actually worse than neuropathy. Pregabalin, initially, they say about 56% of patients initially will benefit from it, but that number drops in studies have shown that in about 5 years, that number drops to about 18%. So it doesn't have a long-term effect on that aspect. And the side effects on a lot of the medications, unfortunately, are actually worse than what the neuropathy is for a lot of people.
Wow, we're getting a lot of texts in today. Hey, I'm really enjoying your show. Do you use any kind of supplements in your program when you're treating your patients for neuropathy?
One in particular, there's a compound in your body called nitric oxide. It's naturally occurring, but our production of it starts to decrease around the age of 40. So a lot of us, by the time that we get to be in our 50s and 60s, are actually lower depleted. Nitric oxide is the major signaling molecule that we have in the body for the dilation of blood vessels. It's, as I said, naturally occurring. It was discovered in 92. The Nobel Prize in Medicine was awarded discoveries in 98. Since 98, what they've discovered is nitric oxide is not only essential for the dilation of blood vessels, but it also actually helps with the actual absorption of oxygen and nutrients at the cellular level, and it does help with neurotransmission. Technology that I use has advanced dramatically to the point that my success rate when we first started was about 55%. When I discovered the need for the nitric oxide, we went up to around 71%, and that's pretty much where I hovered for the next 10 and a half years. And now the technology advanced. The new units came out on the market about 5.5 years ago, and now we are at 98%. But the thing is if people's nitric oxide levels are too low, what I do will not work. It's an easy thing to increase it. That there are supplements out there that are derived out of beets or arugula. Not all of them, just like with anything, some of the supplements that are out there do not have be as effective as others. There is a simple saliva test that we do administer that has a pretty good reliability and gives us a pretty good idea of what we're actually dealing with. And so that we build up the nitric oxide levels. I do use ALA with some patients. They're a temporary way to kind of get the nerve to settle down. But a lot of the supplements that you'll actually see out there for neuropathy themselves may offer some short-term benefit, but long-term, they're not going to really do anything to decelerate the progression of the neuropathy. Whereas what we've done, biopsies are basically the best way to actually determine if you have neuropathy, where they took plugs of skin from 2 or 3 areas in the lower leg and the feet, stain and count the number of nerve endings. We've done pre and post on patients we were successful with and showed we can actually increase the nerve density by over 400% in severe cases. So we can actually reverse the neuropathy. It's just we need to continue to keep doing the treatment so it doesn't come back, because it is a secondary disease, as I explained earlier.
So how long, once you treat them, how long do they have to stay on? Is it something for the rest of their life?
Right now, yes. But during our healing stage, we actually have our patients, and the treatment takes 20 to 40 minutes a couple times a day, depending on what we're dealing with. And we have them do it 5 to 7 days a week during the healing stage. We finally will get to a point where the stabilization, basically what we're doing is maintenance. And most of my patients can get by doing it 1 or 2 times a week. And but the real key is unfortunately is when you're feeling really good, we generally have a tendency to set things off to the side and procrastinate about doing them, and then it does come back and that. But we can get back under control. But some of my patients, they need to go through that little learning process where they realize that they actually do need to continue to keep doing it.
It's amazing. I got to tell you, I want to compliment you on another area. Listening to you talk is like somebody who's been on TV all their life. It's beautiful the way how you explain things to people. And I think that's why people like your show. Today, everybody's made the show so easy because I want to get your questions in before my questions, and we've gotten so many of them. I want to know that what happens, this is from Myra, what happens if you don't treat neuropathy? Does it get worse?
It can. As I said, my mom started out with numbness in 1968, and by 1986, she was fully confined to a wheelchair. My dad had to lift her in and out of it, that she had no idea where the heck her feet were at. It will progress. How fast, I can't tell you, but I can tell you that at different aspects, everybody's a little bit different, but some people may end up having surgery and the anesthesia can actually expedite. And so it's like my feet were a little numb when they put me to sleep. And when I woke up after the surgery, all of a sudden I just had all kinds of pain and it never went away. You can actually kind of fall off of a cliff. And that's the thing to kind of be aware of, that the earlier we can to treat it, basically the better our results are overall and the easier it is. But having people that come in when the tests that we do are called the Toronto Clinical Scoring System for Peripheral Neuropathy. So it gives me a scale of where they're at. I get people that come in that have 80, 90, 100% loss of sensation in their feet. We get past 80, 85. There's nothing out there that's going to bring it back 100%. They're always going to have some symptoms of neuropathy. But if I can get somebody to come in when they've got 40 or 50% loss, I can get them back to 100%.
Wow. Hey, Dr. Sars, how do people reach you?
Call my office number. It's 480-556-1358. That number is answered 7 days a week from 7 o'clock in the morning till 8 o'clock at night. My office is open Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. That's my retirement plan. I'm 71 years old. And I just renewed my lease, so I'm here for another 3 years. So I'll be here until I'm at least 74. But outside of office hours, I'm the one that answers the phone. You got to understand, my patients treat themselves at home. And so I want to make sure that I'm there to answer their questions. If they've got any concerns while they're going through the treatment, I am involved in this. This is not something where you get something to go home with and you never hear from me again. That's not how this works. I am involved. There are office visits at least once a month and like I said, I'm there to take your phone calls. I don't want anybody to actually, you will not be abandoned. I have people that call me 3, 4, 5 years from the time they signed up because something happened and they just want a reassurance of something or that. So I am involved in this. This is my dedication.
It's obvious. Hey, Dr. Sars, we got to get out of here. Hey, you'll be back in with us next month. And remember, you can go to iHeart or Spotify and you can hear all of Dr. Sars' shows with us. Dr. Sars, thank you so much. We're so blessed to have you.
Thank you, Steve. Take care. We'll see you next month.
Thanks for tuning in today to the Ask the Expert show on W4CY Radio and Talk4 TV. Tune in next week and every week to hear more from our experts on personal injury, insurance, air condition repairs, estate planning, Medicare, and many other topics in the areas of legal, health, financial, and home improvement. See you next week.